February 3rd, 1936. In a freezing, muddy field outside Springfield, Massachusetts, a line of soldiers huddled in long wool coats, boots sinking into half-frozen earth, squinted at a peculiar machine resting on the wooden test benches. It was a rifle unlike anything they had ever seen. Sleek, metallic, self-loading, 8 rounds, ready to fire without touching a bolt. To them, it seemed almost frivolous. "They expect us to trust this thing in battle?" muttered Private Thomas Reynolds, a veteran of the trenches of World War I who had seen what a rifle should do and what men relied on when the bullets began flying. "It'll jam the first time we really need it." Mark my words. Colonel James Patterson, the officer in charge of weapons trials, paced back and forth, hands clasped behind his back, exhaling clouds of frosty air. "Gentlemen, this is not a toy. This is the future of the infantry rifle." But his words barely registered. Around him, soldiers laughed quietly, some openly, at the polished piece of engineering. They had grown accustomed to the Springfield 1903, a bolt-action rifle that demanded patience, precision, and discipline. They knew its limitations, its reliability, and most importantly, its simplicity. And now, here was this Garand rifle, named after its inventor, John C. Garand, promising to automate a process that had defined the soldier's rhythm for decades. "Watch closely," Patterson said, his voice calm but firm. A young corporal stepped forward, inserted the 8-round end-block clip, and squeezed the trigger. One shot, then another, then another. The rifle cycled automatically, each round discharged with startling consistency. The soldier's eyes widened. A semi-automatic rifle, firing 8 rounds in as many beats of a heartbeat, without ever touching a bolt. But skepticism remained. What if it freezes in the mud? What if it jams under artillery fire? What if it explodes in your hands? Someone asked, half in jest, half in fear. Patterson allowed a small smile. He knew exactly why these men were hesitant. They had seen weapons fail under pressure, soldiers die because a rifle refused to perform. And yet, the M1 Garand, its sleek lines concealing a complex, gas-operated mechanism, had been engineered for reliability, tested under extremes of cold, heat, dust, and mud. The Army had demanded perfection, and Garand had delivered. Across the field, the rifles fired again, this time with the rhythm of a drummer's rapid cadence. Soldiers instinctively ducked, then realized it was no artillery or machine gun they were firing at targets, clay silhouettes at 200 yards. Each target fell with the soft ping of bullets, piercing wood and metal. For the first time, a few of the skeptics' smiles faltered. Something was happening here. This wasn't just a rifle. This was a revolution waiting to happen. By March 1937, the Army was ready for more formal evaluations. Soldiers from across the country were brought to Springfield Armory to witness demonstrations. Garand rifles lined the benches, polished, adjusted, ready. Yet, the laughter persisted. "Look at that clip. Only 8 rounds? And you call this the future?" Sergeant Frank Mitchell barked to a group of new recruits. They laughed along, thinking the Army had gone soft, replacing tried-and-true rifles with some contraption no one really understood. The test began. Volunteers took turns firing, aiming at targets 300 yards away. Each rifle cycled automatically, clearing itself of spent cartridges, chambering new rounds instantly. The soldiers tried to catch it, failing, tried to force jams, tried to throw it into mud or snow. Nothing. Whispers of unease began to creep through the crowd. How could this be? A semi-automatic rifle, reliable in conditions that would have turned a Springfield 1903 into a paperweight, firing as fast as any man could pull the trigger. And yet, despite these demonstrations, skepticism lingered. Some officers dismissed it as suitable only for marksmen, assuming that the average soldier could not maintain control under rapid fire. "In real battle," one lieutenant scoffed, "this will be chaos. Men will waste ammunition, jam the rifle, or hurt themselves." But there was a subtle shift in the air. Observers noticed the ease with which Garand rifles could be reloaded, the precision of each shot, and the lack of recoil that allowed rapid follow-up fire. Even the fastest bolt-action shooter could not match the rhythm. By the time the final demonstration concluded, a quiet murmur ran through the ranks. Soldiers who had come expecting a joke, a novelty, a failed experiment, now left with something else: curiosity and a small, reluctant respect. The M1 Garand wasn't just different. It was dangerous. Dangerous for the enemy, that is. And somewhere deep within the army brass, a realization began to dawn. This rifle could redefine how infantry fought. It could double the rate of fire, increase accuracy under stress, and give the United States soldier an edge that no adversary could anticipate. Little did the soldiers know, the skeptics would soon be proven wrong in the most dramatic fashion imaginable on battlefields thousands of miles away, facing enemy rifles that hadn't changed since the previous war. The laughter, the mockery, the doubts, all of it was about to be silenced by the sound of rapid, relentless, semi-automatic fire. November 8th, 1942. The first American soldiers carrying M1 Garands landed on the rocky beaches of North Africa. The Mediterranean sun was harsh, glinting off the sand and shrapnel-strewn terrain. The 1st Infantry Division, recently trained with the new semi-automatic rifles, moved cautiously inland, aware that the German Afrika Korps was among the most experienced and disciplined units in the world. The enemy expected the usual: soldiers armed with bolt-action rifles, firing cautiously, taking cover, and advancing slowly. What they didn't expect was a weapon that could deliver double the rate of fire without exhausting its operator, a rifle that could change the rhythm of the battle in a single volley. Private Reynolds, now a sergeant, felt the difference immediately. In training, the Garand had seemed almost too good to be true. But here, amid dust, smoke, and the screams of battle, it was revolutionary. He squeezed the trigger, sending 8 rounds downrange before the German squad could fully react. The volley cut down targets that would have taken twice as long with a bolt-action rifle. German soldiers stared in disbelief. "What are these Americans doing?" one whispered into his comrade's ear, eyes wide. The M1 Garand was firing faster than anything they had trained for, and the Americans maintained control, accuracy, and composure. The key, of course, was not just the rate of fire, but the coordination and reliability. Each rifle's semi-automatic mechanism allowed soldiers to maintain continuous fire while scanning the battlefield. Squad leaders could issue orders and adapt instantly. Machine guns still roared, but now, the riflemen themselves could saturate enemy positions, forcing retreat or causing disarray in units accustomed to controlling the pace of engagement. As night fell over the North African desert, German reports noted an unsettling pattern. American units seemed to respond instantly, firing from unexpected positions, coordinating attacks as if guided by an invisible hand. The Garand wasn't just a rifle, it was the backbone of a new doctrine, and the soldiers who had laughed at it back home were now wielding a weapon that commanded respect on the battlefield. June 6, 1944. Omaha Beach. The air was thick with smoke, salt, and the screams of men. Soldiers crouched behind steel obstacles and scattered debris, gripping the M1 Garand like a lifeline. The Germans had fortified every inch of the coast, their machine guns creating a deadly crossfire that would have been insurmountable with slower, bolt-action rifles. But the Garand changed everything. Sergeant Reynolds, now part of a combined arms team moving inland, felt the rhythm of battle unlike anything he had ever experienced. 8 rounds, fast and precise, another 8, and another. Each soldier's fire complemented the next, creating a rolling wave of suppression that allowed squads to advance. Inch by bloody inch, across the sand. German officers, watching from fortified bunkers, noted the strange phenomenon. They fire, faster than we can comprehend, and they don't miss. They saw Americans leap from cover, firing controlled bursts that disrupted machine gun nests and sniper positions alike. Entire defensive lines that should have held firm crumbled under what seemed like relentless, almost supernatural firepower. The semi-automatic mechanism of the M1 allowed every soldier, not just marksmen or officers, to become a force multiplier. Unlike the slow, methodical reloads required by bolt-action rifles, the Garand kept pace with the chaos of combat. German soldiers had anticipated American bolt-action tactics, structured and predictable. Instead, they faced unpredictable, rapid volleys that redefined what infantry fire could achieve. Across France, from hedgerows to open fields, the same pattern repeated. Units armed with M1 Garands could suppress, outmaneuver, and overwhelm positions that had previously required machine guns or artillery. Soldiers who had once doubted the weapon now relied on it entirely, marveling at its ability to combine speed, accuracy, and reliability in a single package. Reports reached high command. Casualty ratios shifted. German field intelligence struggled to explain why their well-fortified positions were collapsing faster than anticipated. Observers misattributed the effect to training or luck, never fully recognizing the technological advantage at the heart of the American infantry. The M1 Garand. By the end of 1944, one thing was clear. The laughter of soldiers at Springfield Armory had long since vanished. The rifle they had mocked had become a weapon of psychological and tactical dominance, reshaping the very nature of combat on the Western Front. August 7, 1942. Guadalcanal. The jungle was dense, almost suffocating, with humidity clinging to every uniform and every weapon. American Marines, many of them fresh from basic training, stepped cautiously through undergrowth, riddled with hidden Japanese positions. The M1 Garand, strapped to their backs or cradled in their arms, was no longer an experimental tool. It had become their lifeline. Japanese soldiers, entrenched and camouflaged, expected the usual methodical fire of bolt-action rifles. They had faced it countless times against Australians and British forces in the Pacific. What they didn't anticipate were semi-automatic rifles delivering controlled bursts with terrifying consistency. Private Harris, crawling through the mud alongside Sergeant Reynolds' squad, paused for a moment to steady his breathing, a rustle in the dense foliage. He aimed and squeezed the trigger. 8 rounds. Another 8. By the time the Japanese soldier realized he was being fired upon, it was too late. Word spread quickly among the Japanese infantry. These Americans could fire twice as fast as any riflemen they had faced. The Garand allowed Marines to suppress enemy positions effectively, creating opportunities for flanking maneuvers that were previously too risky. Fire superiority meant control of the jungle pathways, the ridgelines, and the choke points that dictated movement across the island. The psychological effect was as important as the physical. Japanese troops, conditioned to expect methodical American fire, were unnerved by the relentless volume and speed. They reported later in captured diaries, "The Americans fire without pause. Even when we think they are reloading, more bullets come. It is as if the rifles are alive." The M1 Garand didn't just change firefights. It changed the pace and tempo of jungle warfare. Small squads, equipped with these semi-automatic rifles, could suppress multiple enemy positions simultaneously. In a terrain where visibility rarely exceeded 100 yards, the rifle's rapid-fire capability ensured that every Marine could respond instantly to threats, turning ambushes into manageable skirmishes. By the conclusion of the Guadalcanal campaign, the reputation of the M1 Garand had spread through both American and Japanese ranks. What was once mocked as a complicated or fragile weapon had proven itself in the harshest combat conditions imaginable, and soldiers who once doubted it now considered it indispensable. September 15, 1944. Peleliu. The island was a fortress, heavily fortified by Japanese engineers who had spent months digging caves and creating hidden pillboxes. Every inch of terrain seemed designed to kill. Yet the M1 Garand proved its worth again. Corporal Davis, part of the 1st Marine Division, advanced with his rifle ready. Japanese snipers lined the ridges, and machine guns swept the open beaches. But with semi-automatic fire, squads could deliver suppressive volleys that pinned enemy troops while advancing through deadly choke points. The 8-round en-bloc clip became a crucial element in combat tactics. Soldiers could fire quickly, maintain a rhythm, and coordinate volleys with squad mates. Unlike bolt-action rifles, which required careful aiming and deliberate shots, the Garand allowed Marines to engage multiple targets without losing composure or speed. January 19, 1945, Iwo Jima. The volcanic ash and rugged terrain created unique challenges for infantrymen. Japanese defenders relied heavily on dug-in positions, hoping the difficulty of movement would neutralize American firepower. It didn't. Marines reported that even in confined, treacherous terrain, the M1 Garand allowed for rapid engagement of multiple targets while maintaining accuracy. Squad-level coordination was enhanced by the rifle's semi-automatic nature, enabling continuous suppressive fire while squad leaders maneuvered through narrow paths. The psychological toll on the Japanese defenders was evident. Many accounts described the relentless volume of American fire, noting that it seemed unceasing, overwhelming, and precise. Soldiers who had laughed at the Garand during trials now faced it in full force. Its speed, reliability, and durability under extreme conditions made it one of the most feared weapons in the Pacific theater. By the end of these campaigns, a stark truth emerged. American infantry, armed with the M1 Garand, could operate with firepower, speed, and coordination unmatched by any opponent relying solely on bolt-action rifles. Across the Pacific, from Guadalcanal to Iwo Jima, the semi-automatic rifle reshaped combat tactics, dictated the tempo of engagements, and established a new standard for infantry firepower. June 6, 1944, Omaha Beach. The sound of artillery was deafening, drowning out everything but the roar of the ocean and the crackle of machine guns. Amid the chaos, American infantrymen pressed forward, M1 Garands at the ready. The rifle's semi-automatic capability allowed them to engage multiple German positions quickly, often before the enemy could return accurate fire. Private Thompson crouched behind a steel beam protruding from the sand. He aimed at a pillbox 40 yards away. 8 shots flew in rapid succession, and before the defenders could react, the first breach in the German defense line appeared. Thompson reloaded with practiced precision and continued firing, his squad moving in coordinated advance. Across the beach, German soldiers, many veterans of the Eastern Front, were stunned. They had trained their entire lives to face the methodical fire of bolt-action rifles. The Garand didn't just shoot faster, it fundamentally altered the pace of battle. Where a German squad could expect to respond once or twice to enemy fire, American Marines and soldiers now delivered multiple coordinated bursts, forcing defenders to retreat or be overrun. The M1 Garand also allowed junior leaders and squad commanders to delegate fire control more effectively. Each soldier's rifle could deliver rapid, precise suppressive fire, meaning that units could maneuver more fluidly. Platoons advanced in unison, each rifle acting as an independent node of firepower, creating overlapping fields of suppression that German forces could neither anticipate nor withstand. The semi-automatic rifle's impact extended beyond the beachhead. In the hedgerows of Normandy, American infantry faced ambushes from concealed German positions. The Garand allowed them to respond instantly, firing as they advanced through dense foliage, simultaneously engaging multiple targets while maintaining squad cohesion. Reports from German prisoners often noted the relentless American fire as one of the most terrifying aspects of the invasion. By August 1944, as American forces pushed through France and into the Rhineland, the rifle had earned its reputation. Soldiers who had once mocked it as cumbersome or fragile now carried it with pride. They knew that in every firefight, their semi-automatic rifles allowed them to fight faster, coordinate better, and survive where older bolt-action rifles might have left them vulnerable. By the war's end in 1945, the M1 Garand's impact was undeniable. It had transformed American infantry tactics, giving them unmatched firepower, speed, and flexibility. Soldiers who had once laughed at the rifle acknowledged its effectiveness on battlefields across the Pacific and Europe. Post-war studies highlighted the significance of the M1 Garand. Military analysts noted that semi-automatic fire allowed small units to achieve fire superiority, suppressing enemy positions long enough for maneuvering, flanking, and decisive assaults. The rifle was not just a weapon, it was a force multiplier, enabling squads to fight cohesively in ways previously impossible. General George C. Marshall, in after-action reports, emphasized the rifle's contribution to operational tempo. He observed that units equipped with Garands could maintain offensive momentum longer, adapt to unexpected threats quickly, and achieve objectives with fewer casualties than units relying on bolt-action rifles. The psychological advantage was equally profound. Enemy troops reported that American fire seemed unceasing and overwhelming, a constant presence that denied them the ability to coordinate effectively. In countless engagements, the rifle's speed and reliability forced adversaries to rethink entrenched strategies and defensive positions. The M1 Garand also influenced the design and development of post-war infantry weapons. Its semi-automatic action became a benchmark for future service rifles, from the M14 to modern assault rifles, emphasizing the principle that rate of fire, reliability, and soldier-level firepower were as decisive as accuracy or range. By 1945, the laughter had ceased. Soldiers, tacticians, and historians alike recognized the Garand as a revolutionary weapon, not because it was novel or flashy, but because it fundamentally changed how infantry fought and survived. Across the Pacific Islands, the beaches of Normandy, and the hedgerows of France, the semi-automatic rifle had proven that speed, coordination, and relentless firepower could outweigh numerical parity or traditional firepower advantages. In the end, the story of the M1 Garand is more than a tale of a rifle. It is a story of transformation of American infantrymen who entered war with skepticism and left it armed with a weapon that changed warfare forever. The rifle didn't just fire faster. It redefined the rules of engagement, proving that innovation at the individual soldier level could alter the course of global conflict.